Hello everyone and welcome to my holiday card series video. Today I'm using this cute set from Fawn. I picked out the small snowflake and I have a piece of white cardstock. I'm just going over the entire thing with my powder tool to cut down on any static electricity because I am going to be heat embossing. So I'm just inking this little snowflake up with my Versamark ink. It's the clear sticky ink to use for heat embossing because the embossing powder sticks right to it. So I'm stamping this entire background with these snowflakes, and then I'll go ahead and put some silver embossing powder on there. This is from Zing, which is American Crafts. I want to make sure I get all of the snowflakes covered. And then I can go ahead and heat those with my heat tool. I'm going to be doing a little bit of watercoloring, so I have the tumbled glass, and I'm just putting this on my non-stick craft sheet, and then I'll spritz it with a little bit of water from my Mister bottle. I'm going to push down my watercolor cardstock face down so the snowflakes are touching the non-stick craft sheet. And I'm running my hands all along there to make sure that the entire thing is covered with some watercolor. Just going and picking some up from the edges because those didn't quite get blue enough. And then I'm going to dry this with my heat tool. You can also let it air dry if you have enough patience. So then I'm taking this stitch circle die from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm going to place that right in the center, but a little bit more towards the top of my card base. And then put that into place with some washi tape because I'm going to run it through my Cuttlebug. That way it's not going to move on me at all. When I do this though, I am going to partially die cut this. So I am taking some more washi tape, and this is just for me to kind of measure where I want this to go. So I know that I want that top edge where I put that to be where it stops cutting. So I have that piece of washi tape sticking off the edge. Then I know that's where I want that to be on where I want it to stop cutting. So I am going to keep that edge off the cutting plate because that part of the die is not underneath the plates, so it's not going to cut out. So you could see I taped it into place with another piece of washi tape. And you'll kind of be able to see what I mean. It's a little bit hard to explain. It's just easier. It's one of those things where you just have to see it to believe it. So when I take that out, you can see the bottom part of that circle is not die cut. I have my scoreboard from Martha Stewart here. So I'm going to take the bone folder and then score right alongside that line. It's kind of hard because this is watercolor cardstock, so it's thicker. It's harder to know where that score line should be. But then I'm just going to fold it over because that part is not die cut. So it's going to be kind of like a little peeker card, but a little bit different. I don't know that I've ever seen one like this. I kind of just made it up in my head. I'm sure it's been done before because, you know, it's hard to come up with new ideas these days. I feel like everything's been done. But I personally have not seen a card like this before. So then I'm taking the little the penguin and the snowballs, and I'm putting those onto my clear acrylic block, and then I'm going to ink them up with my Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and I'm stamping this on some Coordinations 110-pound cardstock. And then I'm also going to stamp the trees. I have the Field Greens ink from Hero Arts. I'm going to stamp 3 of these trees, so they're going to be this nice green color. The Hero Arts ink is a little bit splotchy when you first stamp it, but it does even out as it dries, so don't worry about that if it is a little bit splotchy at first. So I'm also going to stamp my sentiment. I have the Happy Holidays. I inked up Happy first. I'm going to stamp that on top, and this is inside the little folded down part on my card base, or on the card front. It's not really my card base. And then I cleaned off the happy part, and now I'm just inking up the holidays, and then I'll stamp that right below the happy. So then the sentiment is going to be on the inside of that peeker part. So now I can go ahead and color in this penguin image. I'm doing this pretty quickly. So I'm just coloring in the penguin with the C3 Copic marker, and then a little bit of shading with the C5. Just kind of flicking that from the edge. And then I'm going to add a little darker color with the C8. And I'm just adding a little tiny bit of that along the edge. Alright, so I went ahead and blended that out with the C3 as well. And then I added a little bit of yellow, and I'm blending that out with the Zero Colorless Blender. So I'm going to make the nose with orange with the YR68 along with his little feet. And then I'm also going to color in the bottoms of the trees that I stamped with a brown Copic. I'm using the E23. And I am going over the green stamped outline as well. So I just want that whole thing to be brown. And then I went ahead and fussy cut the penguin out. And I did the tree base before. So I'm creating my background for behind that little peeker window. I'm starting with the Faded Jeans Distress ink, and I just have a piece of white cardstock, and I'm using my round blending foam, just blending those colors in from the edge. You can see my paper was bending a little bit. I don't really know, it's just a thinner paper, but a lot of this is going to be covered up, so I wasn't too worried about starting over. And then I'm going alongside the outside edge with my Chip Sapphire ink. Just going to bring in a little bit darker of a color. And the Faded Jeans and Chip Sapphire are by far my favorites for creating backgrounds. But I will add, I created another card for this holiday card series that you're going to see a little bit later on. I used one of the newer colors, and I really like that for the background, so you're definitely going to want to see that video. So then I'm adding this Distress ink piece to the back. I just put some adhesive on there, and then I can adhere it down. So I'm kind of trying to get that little bended part out of there so that you don't see it at all. So I didn't quite get the adhesive in the right spot, so I'm just going to take some Scotch tape and then I will glue that or adhere that down. It also didn't really adhere down because the Distress ink was still wet, and when you try to adhere something onto wet Distress ink, it doesn't work very well at all. So now I'm adding this piece to a piece of pattern paper. This is an older pattern paper from My Mind's Eye. If it is still available, I will definitely have it linked below. It is the Winter Wonderland. It's pretty old, so I'm not sure if it's still available, but if it is, it will be linked below. So I'm just going to adhere that piece onto there. I thought I needed a little bit of pattern paper in the background, and just to bring in some more color instead of just the blue. So then I'm adhering that to my white A2 size card base. And I'm using some heavy tape adhesive on here. You could tell in my last piece that my Scotch ran out of adhesive and I was too lazy to refill it when I was in the middle of a card, so I just found some more adhesive to add to the back. So I'll peel up the backings from this. This is the Be Creative adhesive. I think it's 1/8 of an inch, but this stuff is super strong, so if you do want like a really strong adhesive on your cards, I would recommend this. I really like it. That's kind of why I never use it, because I'm hoarding it, just because it's a really good adhesive. Okay, so now I can put all of the cute little images into my card. All of the trees are going to be on the outside, so I can go ahead and adhere those into place. I'm just using my multi-medium, or I'm using the Tombow Mono multi-glue for this, but you could also use the multi-medium in matte finish. So I'm going to place 2 of these trees overlapping each other on the left-hand side, And then I'll put the third tree more towards the right hand side. And then I'm going to put the little snowballs in between. So then for the inside of the card, the little penguin is going to go in there. And then the single snowball. And then I'm also going to stamp the little, it's the marks that look like it's a snowball flying across the page. So I'm going to lay everything out, and then I'm going to stamp that down with my Tuxedo Black Memento ink. I just want to make sure that I get it so that it looks right on my card. That way it kind of reminds me of in the scene from Buddy the Elf, or Elf, not Buddy, Elf, where they have this snowball fight. So like on the outside of the card you see the pile of snowballs within the trees, and then you open it up and the penguin is throwing the snowball at you. So I'm going to take my white gel pen and just put a little bit of white in the little thrown snowball image. So you can see me coloring with this white gel pen at the top. When I stamped that snowball image, a little bit of ink was on the stamp block and it got up there. The white gel pen did not work, so I had to find another solution. I took a piece of blue and white twine and I tied it into a bow, and then I just stuck a little dab of glue up there and put the bow right into it, and that really helped to cover it up, because obviously I did not want to start over on this card from this point. And then that is my finished card. So I hope you enjoyed this Peeker card tutorial, and will try using one of these on your Christmas cards this year. If you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure that you subscribe, because you are not going to want to miss any of my Christmas card videos. If you missed the last one, go ahead and click here. That was the first day. I will see you back here next time. Bye!